The world today is loud. Not just in sound, but in energy. Opinions, distractions, movement. There is noise in the streets. On your phone, in your inbox, in your thoughts. Crowds fill your schedule, your social feed, and your mind. And in all this chaos, something quietly disappears. Clarity, focus, peace. The ancient Stoics understood something that modern society has forgotten. Noise and crowds don't just exhaust your body, they pollute your mind. They disrupt your judgment, they drown out your inner voice. And over time, they distance you from yourself. That's why the great Stoic philosophers, Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, Epictetus, all valued silence, solitude, stillness, not as an escape from life, but as the gateway to living it well. Today, we'll explore exactly why Stoics avoid noise and crowds, and why you should too. If you want to live with power, presence, and purpose, let's begin with the first principle. Noise weakens your thinking. When your mind is constantly stimulated, it becomes reactive. You're no longer choosing your thoughts, you're absorbing them. You're not reflecting, you're responding. You're not leading your life, you're reacting to the latest message. The newest trend, the next notification. In a noisy world, your ability to think deeply, to reason clearly, to decide calmly, all gets hijacked. The Stoics prized clarity above all. They believed that the mind must be trained, like a muscle, through stillness, silence, and reflection. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Nowhere can man find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in his own soul." But to retreat into the soul, you must first escape the noise outside. You must carve out silence. You must protect your attention like your life depends on it, because in many ways, it does. Noise is not just a sound problem. It's a spiritual one. Because when your mind is full of noise, it has no space for truth. Now let's talk about crowds. Why do Stoics avoid them? It's not because they hate people. It's not about arrogance or detachment. It's about influence. The Stoics understood that crowds carry energy. And most of the time, it's not good energy. In crowds, people act differently. They become more emotional, more impulsive, more aggressive. They say things they wouldn't say alone. They do things they'd never do on their own. They lose individuality and take on the mood of the mob. Seneca warned us, a multitude is always dangerous. Why? Because crowds pull you away from your reason, from your values, from your identity. And if you're not grounded deeply in who you are, you will become who the crowd wants you to be. That's how you lose your center. That's how you become just another echo of the world instead of a clear, conscious human being. A Stoic refuses to give away his soul like that. He stays close to principle. He protects his state of mind the way a warrior protects a fortress. That doesn't mean you avoid society. But it does mean you are selective with your energy, your company, your presence. Another reason Stoics avoid noise and crowds is because they steal something essential. Stillness. Stillness is not idleness. It is not laziness or inaction. It is presence, power, poise. When you are still, you see clearly. You hear your own thoughts. You understand your emotions instead of being ruled by them. You act with precision instead of being pulled in every direction. But noise breaks stillness. Crowds disrupt it. Today, most people are uncomfortable with stillness. They panic in silence. They need background noise, constant stimulation. They scroll, switch tabs, check their phones every few minutes, not because they're busy, but because they're anxious. Why? Because stillness forces you to face yourself. And that's something many people haven't learned how to do. But the Stoic learns to sit with himself, to reflect, to breathe, to ask, who am I becoming? What am I avoiding? What truly matters? This internal space is where wisdom begins. And you cannot access it while surrounded by noise and crowds. Let's go deeper. Noise and crowds also make you lose track of time. In crowded environments, both physical and digital, you get pulled into the urgency of others. Their timelines, their problems, their distractions. And before you know it, hours have passed, days. You've consumed content, chased opinions, responded to others, without once checking in with yourself. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, don't waste what's left of your life in doubt and distraction. Stoics avoid this trap by structuring their time. They rise early. They plan their day. They reflect at night. They make time for solitude. Because they know that if they don't, the world will steal every hour they didn't protect. So they live slowly, deliberately. They choose when to engage and when to withdraw. That's not weakness. That's strength. Because it takes strength to say no to noise. It takes strength to sit still in a spinning world. Another reason Stoics avoid noise and crowds? Because both feed the ego. In crowds, people seek approval. They want to be seen, heard, admired. They talk to impress, post to be liked, perform to be validated. And noise? Noise is often a cover for insecurity. It fills the silence where true confidence should live. But the Stoic doesn't chase applause. He doesn't seek attention. He lives with quiet strength. Epictetus wrote, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." The Stoic is willing to be misunderstood, overlooked, even criticized, because he does not need the crowd's approval to live by his principles. He does not measure himself by likes, by followers, or by noise. He measures himself by his integrity, his character, and his peace of mind. That is the mark of true strength. It is not loud, it is still. Let's be clear. Avoiding noise and crowds does not mean living in isolation. It means choosing depth over distraction, substance over noise, integrity over impression. It means building an inner world so strong that the outer world cannot shake it. It means being able to say, I know who I am. I know what I stand for. And I refuse to let the noise decide for me. So what can you do? You can build silence into your day. Wake up before the world. Spend the first hour with your thoughts, not your phone. Take walks without headphones. Drive with the radio off. Breathe. You can reduce the digital crowd. Unfollow those who don't inspire you. Limit notifications. Leave group chats that drain you. Choose conversations that elevate your spirit, not just fill your time. You can create moments of stillness. Read, journal, reflect, meditate. Make space in your schedule for doing nothing, because in that nothing, something powerful happens. You return to yourself. Let's recap. Why do Stoics avoid noise and crowds? Because noise clouds your thinking. Crowds sway your identity. Both rob you of clarity. Stillness and time both feed your ego, while starving your soul. The Stoic chooses quiet, not because he is weak, but because in silence, he becomes unshakable, and in solitude, he becomes strong. You don't need to be everywhere. You don't need to be heard by everyone. You just need to be rooted in truth, in stillness, in yourself. Let the world be loud. Let the crowd move fast. You move with purpose. You speak with clarity. You live with peace. Because silence is not empty. And solitude is not loneliness. They are where strength is born. That is why Stoics avoid noise and crowds. And that is how you rise above them.